Hey friends, David Miller, Los Angeles creative, currently in Palm Springs. I'm on assignment. I'm doing some animation around a particular hotel, and I'll do a separate video about that project, but I wanted to do more motivation for other artists, especially since I'm back to being freelance, independent artist on my own. I don't have a boss. If I do have a boss, they're only temporary. And like this particular assignment I'm doing is a lot of extra work, but it's a lot of computer stuff, and it's a drain. Not to mention that I'm in Palm Springs and it's 117 degrees out. I haven't been in the desert in a while, and it's really punishing. So I wanted to go through my basic list of things that motivate me. I know anybody else who's in this sort of like independent art space has to stay positive and motivated, or nothing will get done and the grind is gonna kill them. And you know, when you're an independent artist, when you are surviving on your wits, taking time off or being lazy or feeling like this isn't possible, that's the end of it. That's when you go back to a steady job where you get an hourly pay that probably isn't what you're worth, doing things that you don't want to do. So anyways, here's my list. I got 20 things on this list that I can probably randomly grab for anytime I'm starting to feel demotivated. Anytime I'm starting to feel negative, tired, demotivated, I'm gonna reach into this list and get one of these ideas out. Number one is caffeine. I mean, that's just so like basic and obvious that caffeine is gonna be a good motivator for you. There's always a certain time that it doesn't work anymore, and also there's times of the day where caffeine is actually a bad thing for you to have. If it's going to ruin your sleep patterns, then probably not after like 5 p.m. If you're looking to sleep like a normal human being. Caffeine first thing in the morning, great way to start the day. I think like the bigger burst of energy you get out of the gate at the beginning of the day, the better the rest of the day can go, because you'll have accomplished a bunch of stuff in the morning. A gratitude list. Like, this is something that my ex-wife and other people have been talking about for a long period of time. I didn't indulge in gratitude lists. I have been in the last month or so. And when you're grateful for what you got, when you see what you have and how substantial that is and how much you've got going for you, I think anybody in the world would benefit from listing out what they actually have at this moment that's in their favor. Because even if you're in a spot where you're like out of money, you don't have the relationship you want, listing all the stuff that's working for you is always going to outweigh what's not working for you, and it's gonna keep you going even in those dark times. The gym, and like making it as early in the day as possible, I think is crucial, because one, physical fitness doesn't require a lot of brain power. And so if you hit it early in the morning, you accomplish that sort of goal of taking care of your body. And also, when you're stuck in the chair doing the computer stuff, you can put your brain towards that. It's not going to be split between, I got to get to the gym later, I got to take care of this thing later. Also, going to the gym early in the morning puts you in the presence of other people who are like very energetic and motivated from the get-go. And there is such a difference between the crowd at the gym late at night and early in the day. Huge difference. There's such a difference in the number of people that are in the gym early in the morning compared to, after work hours. I could never go to the gym at like 5, 6 p.m. again because of how many people are there. And just my anxiety level around large crowds of people is pretty high, but I can't go at 3 a.m. either, because I don't have the right energy or the right mind to actually accomplish my goals at 3 a.m. Very early, 5:30, 6, 7:30, sometime in that range is the best time for me to go, because it puts me in the presence of other people who are on their grind, getting their stuff done, taking care of themselves first thing in the morning. And, it's not overpopulated with a bunch of yahoos, roving gangs of teenagers, those kind of things. The gym that I go to is 24-hour fitness, and when I lived in Arizona, it was Vasa. And one thing that both of those companies have in common is that they have steam rooms available. So steam in the spa, clear you out. The sweat ritual, anywhere there you can sweat, it's got to get out a lot of like the toxins in your body. It also, in my mind, I'm metaphorically sweating out negativity. I'm sweating out evil. I know that's not like reality, but it's just the metaphor that I give myself when I'm in there. So I always come out like my skin is nice and tingly. It feels really good. And like the cycle of hydration, perspiration in your body is very important to keeping you moving anyways. And the steam room has been a big benefit for me in my life. Natural light. So I have to tell you something personal. I grew up in a home where the mother would turn on lights in daylight. I have lights on right now in daylight, and it's driving me crazy. Natural light is the way that our bodies are programmed to respond to the world. So when I was learning to be a teacher, I found out that fluorescent bulbs, which at the time were not daylight balanced, they were kind of like a greenish light. Studies had shown that students learning in rooms without natural light windows and with fluorescent bulbs performed worse on tests and other assessments than they did when they were in spaces that had natural light to them. Now, I mean, there's some cases where if you're like doing art and you're trying to draw, it's very difficult to have all the lights off and just natural light through the window, but that's why you have, art rooms that have a lot of natural light, a lot of window spaces. When I taught in California, I had the doors open because I could have light pour in there, pour in from the other side. I had 2 doors and I had light coming through a window, and as long as it was like not a rainy day, that was enough for the students to learn. And I had so many students report that they preferred my room, the peacefulness of that environment, that calm, because I generally allow just natural light on a regular basis, not the artificial light overhead that maybe even has like a buzz to it, or it's just a distraction. It uses a portion of our brain power to color correct when we're dealing with light that isn't keyed to daylight temperature. Chill DJ mixes on YouTube, instrumental stuff. And the DJ mixes I pick on YouTube, they usually have like a positive atmosphere to them. They're a steady flow. There isn't like conversation or lyrics getting in the way, distracting me, making me think of something other than what I'm working on. When it's one continuous DJ set of music, it can sustain an atmosphere longer than, a 4-minute song that gets me pumped for 4 minutes and then it's on to something else. And YouTube is just full of great DJ mixes. So the benefit of that is you're not going to run out of material. I have an up playlist in my Spotify that are songs that keep me pumped. I use it a lot in the gym, but I've heard those songs hundreds of times and they're not going to have the same effect. It's not going to have that sense of discovery as when I'm on YouTube and I find a new DJ mix that gets me pumped. Going along with natural light, the fresh air. Right now in this hotel room, I'm dealing with air-conditioned air, and it's not the fresh stuff that I get when I live in San Pedro, where I have my windows open all the time, and it's actually kind of like a big drain on me. I feel my skin is really dry. I'm away from the ocean right now, and I'm kind of used to that air, used to that smell of the sea breeze, and I just find it's like more calming, more zen to be in a fresh air environment than these sort of air-conditioned zones that I lived in 20 years in Arizona, and just can't take, having air conditioning running all the time. I love circulated air. That's important to me. But when it's air conditioned, it's really dry, and it just doesn't feel the same as what I get at the ocean. That keeps me calm. Vision board, another new thing for me. A lot of people have been doing vision boards for what they want to be successful about. Writing down plans, even like the shot list that we made for this particular film project I'm working on. We wrote it down and it fixed it in my brain, and reviewed it multiple times with the person I'm co-creating this short film with. And so helpful, keeps me on track. I'm never at a point going, what do I do now? And then the times that I am kind of like forgetting what we're gonna do next, just pull out the piece of paper, look at it, pull out the vision board, look at it. Oh, that's what I need to be working on. Or this is what I can do today to advance towards this goal that might take me months, might take me years, but there's always something I can do today that'll advance those goals. I just gotta look at it, I gotta remember it, I gotta fix it in my brain. Look at that vision board in the morning, look at it at night, look in the middle of the day, keep it on your phone, have it be your lock screen on your phone, whatever it is, Stay focused on your goals. That's how you get them done. And as you scratch goals off your list, off your vision board, you have motivation to go to the next ones. Working at a cafe or isolation room in a library, somewhere where you can either like cut out the amount of distractions or, once again, be around some kind of energy that is conducive toward you getting something done. Actually, this hotel room, as much as I like it, it's not conducive for me to getting things done because there's a bed over there, there's TVs, there's just like reasons to be lazy. And the same is my own apartment. I get some things done in my apartment, but in general, I would rather be in an environment where I feel like all I can do is what I need to work on. That I'm not going to be sleeping, social, distracted by animals, cleaning, whatever else people do in their own private space. Motivational talks on YouTube and podcasts, like these have been a big deal to me for a long period of time. Some of my favorites are pretty much like the artists that I always talk about, your Neil Gaimans, your Guillermo del Toros. Steve Harvey and Bishop T.D. Jakes are great motivational speakers. I mean, they're both coming from like a Christian point of view, which isn't necessarily where my point of view is coming from, but I think their thoughts overlap with a lot of the things that I do believe in. And also, they have sort of like simple ways of dealing with problems that seem complicated. How do you deal with a friend who offends you, when you feel like your relationships are lopsided? And how do you deal with romantic relationships? Any of that stuff, These guys have really good advice. And if you want to be more specific, because, I always talk about the INFP stuff, I can find things that I can relate to that are maybe like encouraging me to be a better person by looking up motivational talks about INFP stuff on YouTube or in podcasts. If nothing else, I pick up some great art techniques too, like Cartoonist Kayfabe, one of my favorite YouTube channels. They talk about tools, they talk about process, they examine pages of great artists and what make them great, and I always come away learning something new that I'll probably put into practice, whether it's a photo project, a video, animation, a comic project. Museums and galleries, like art's a big deal to me, and seeing art in person always means more to me than seeing art on Instagram, Tumblr, any of those other places. Again, just being in the presence of art on walls, people who are successful, people who are acknowledged as great artists, in a sort of temple, a church to creativity, which is what I consider museums and galleries. Big deal, big motivator. Always come away feeling like I want to create something. Even if I wasn't inspired directly by something I saw in there, it's just being in the right atmosphere. Working with a friend, I mean, you see me do my YouTube channel by myself. There's many times I've tried to have other people involved in the YouTube channel, and it's just kind of difficult. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try again, because I think the times that I have friendships that are good creative back and forths, we can, go to a cafe, each work on our own thing, look at what the other's doing, help each other out. Maybe I work on one half of a thing and they work on the other half of the thing. I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can mix what you're working on with what somebody else is working on. And if nothing else, it's just kind of like a study group where people go to a cafe and I got to study my thing and you got to study your thing, and they're not the same class, but the fact that we're together gives us that social element that humans usually need at some point in their lives. Getting up early, I'll tell you what, man, just there's a lot of people who won't get up early, and probably because it requires them to go to bed earlier. When I started waking up earlier, especially in Arizona in the summer, because I knew that the heat would be so high by 8 a.m., 9 a.m., that getting up at 5:30 meant I could get a lot more done, and maybe even like run to the grocery store and do all my errands and stuff by like 6:30 in the morning, go to the gym early. Getting up early is like how you can accomplish an important goal in the first second of your day. Sleeping in late, it's only useful if you need to catch up on sleep. But the way that I've kind of programmed my body at this point is get up early, do a bunch of stuff, take a nap in the middle of the day, and then that's break time for my brain anyways, and then the second half of the day after the nap is like more productive too. I'm not wired to get up and continue until 7, 8, 9 o'clock and then go to sleep. I'm programmed to get up early, plow through stuff really hard, middle of the day nap, rest of the day, part 2 with a little bit of refreshment inside. Number 14, finish the menial tasks first thing in the morning. If you've got like some cleaning to do, if you've got some like dishes in the sink, if you've got things to mail, whatever, like get it out of the way first thing. Because those kind of tasks don't take a long time, but you get 2 or 3 little tasks done right away. That's wind beneath your wings, get you going for the things that are more important. If you're trying to do big projects first and then gonna do menial tasks later in the day, I mean, maybe that's the way you work, but in my mind, if I got animation to do, and I know there's dishes in the sink that I'm also required to clean, a portion of my brain is fixated on something that would take me a couple seconds, a couple minutes to do, instead of using my full 100% brain towards this animation project I'm on. Exploring new places. I've made it a commitment to myself in California to go somewhere new every day. And maybe that's like a beach I haven't been to. Maybe that's a store I haven't been into. I started outdoor yoga this week. Walk down the street and see what kind of like street art and graffiti is there. But every day I've got time to go somewhere new. And I do have my work stuff with me. So I'm not like taking time away from work to go somewhere new. But I'll go somewhere new and work there and see how it works out, And every time I go somewhere new, it might be like a location that I could photograph in. Just found a great skate park in San Pedro. It could be a cool new place to exercise. I walked on the bridge from Long Beach to Terminal Island. I've been driving over that bridge for 10 months. Didn't know you could walk on it. Really great place. I could sit there and draw comics. Exploring keeps the daily life fresh. It doesn't feel like I'm pushing this boulder up a hill of making a comic, of making an animation, making YouTube videos. It feels like something new is being added to the mix every single day. And I'm really inspired by new places anyways. Staying off the phone, easier said than done. Obviously I'm using it for YouTube right now, but social media tricks you into thinking you're getting something done by being on it. And you get stuff done by getting stuff done, not by going on social media and interacting with all these other people that aren't paying you, that aren't helping you finish your projects, that aren't advancing the cause. They're just bored at their jobs too. So yeah, stay off the phone, find a way to like program it to have no disturbances during certain periods of the day that are sacred to you. Whatever it is, just put it in a drawer in a different room. I don't know, man, stay off the phone and you'll be focused. Sometimes I think the phone is kind of like Satan, but you gotta stay off it to stay focused. Even if it's just for like 1 hour, you gotta stay off it. Practicing yoga or mindfulness exercises or breathing exercises, any of that stuff is gonna help you when you've gotta stay in one place and really dig into a project. Helping someone, that's a way that keeps me positive because I was able to contribute in some way towards the benefit of somebody else's life, whether it was like when I had jobs and rehabs and mental hospitals and had some good talks with people, or was, like an open ear to a friend who was going through a problem, fixing something on somebody's car, whatever it is. Helping other people is not just good karma, it puts you in a better space. So that's a way to stay positive and motivated. Walking, hiking in nature, honestly, that's the biggest way that I can refresh myself besides sleeping is I live close enough to the ocean that I can run over there, just sort of like be part of the world for once, because to be honest, we're talking about independent artists. A lot of us are just sitting alone, like I'm doing right now, in a space, and we're lost in our own thoughts. We're lost in our projects. You get out in nature, go for a walk, and it's gonna remind you that you're a citizen of the world, hopefully, or it's gonna remind you that there's more than just this table, this computer, this phone to life. Number 20 method of staying positive and motivated is talk about it. I mean, you can talk about the problems, you can talk about what's going well, you can do whatever. I'm making these videos because me talking about it, even if it's to myself, I know it's gonna go on YouTube eventually and other people are gonna hear it. And it's helping me stay positive and motivated because I'm communicating, this is how I would like to be. This is stuff that maybe is useful to other people, but it's kind of like preaching. It's like the preachers are really preaching to themselves. You're saying what you need to hear. There you have it, 20 ways of staying positive and motivated. I'm sure you can add to the list if you're out there. You got a good one, leave it in the comments below. Talk to you next time.